This is episode 37 of the Online Playmaker Sessions with social ad genius from Austin, Texas, Curt Maly.
Welcome to the Online Playmaker Sessions. This is the place for the latest what's working now strategies from the best online playmakers, the top marketers, the rising stars who are making it happen right now. Every week, you'll get real, actionable lessons that you can take and apply immediately in your business, delivered in short 20-minute sessions. Our focus is your results. Here's your host, entrepreneur, world-class trainer, and marketing strategist, Norbert Orlowitz.
Hello, Online Playmakers. If this is your first time tuning into the Playmaker Sessions, thank you for choosing us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and if you prefer video, our YouTube channel at onlineprofitplaybook.tv. As with all of our episodes, we have all the show notes, transcripts, and actionable tips over on the blog. Just head over to www.onlineprofitplaybook.com. You'll also be able to get access to my complimentary 5-video tutorial series on building the proper foundation for your online business, as well as several other free trainings, including my Instant Income Multiplier tutorial. And if you're ready to multiply your results fast, check out the premium membership of our Online Profit Playbook, where our guests open up their closely guarded playbooks and walk you step by step through the exact marketing funnels and sales process they use to build their audience, grow their influence, and make sales. Get the coveted Online Profit Playbook today. Just head over to onlineprofitplaybook.com and join the Playmakers. Curt Maly is a Facebook advertising expert, owner of Black Box social media ad agency, consultant, and national speaker. Curt's agency offers done-for-you advertising services for Facebook, Google, and other forms of pay-per-click advertising. In 2014 alone, his agency ran over $5 million of advertising spend across 35 different verticals. Most recently, Curt and his team have compiled their years of advertising data and experience into a digital video training program, Social Media Ad Genius, that shows small business owners exactly how to plan, launch, and manage profitable pay-per-click marketing campaigns on the main ad platforms. Curt has spoken all over the U.S., from the Digital Marketer event in San Diego to the NBA owners meetings in Chicago, and has been featured in the Boston Globe, USA Today, What's Working Now, and Entrepreneur Lifestyle magazine. This week's Online Playmaker, Curt Maly. All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode 37 of the Online Playmaker Sessions. Today, I've got a special guest all the way from Austin, Texas, sweating in the heat up there on the 17th floor. Curt Maly, how you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Norbert. It's good to see you again, sir.
Awesome. Fantastic, man. Good to have you here. I'm really excited for this because I love your story and I love what you're doing for entrepreneurs around the world, helping them with their marketing. And we're going to be talking about a really popular topic when it comes to marketing, which is Facebook marketing, Whoa. Facebook ads. How the heck do I get profitable Facebook campaigns running without losing my shirt? That's the topic for today, because I see a lot of people struggling with that. But Curt, let's start out. Let's kind of take it back a little bit. And why don't you share with us a little bit of who you are and how you got into internet marketing and now running the agency that you run? Because it's quite an interesting story.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2007, 2008, I started getting into this real estate market. When the real estate market was going like this, I got into the real estate market here, which means I didn't realize it was already doing this.
Awesome timing.
So, it was great timing. I decided to get in the real estate market. The same time I decided to join a network marketing company that was promoting real estate training. So that seemed to make a lot of sense, which the training was $20,000. And when everyone had financing, it was great. And then when nobody had financing, it was the opposite of great. I'm not really quite sure what that word is exactly.
I can think of some.
Some people have called it the Trail of Tears, which makes it very interesting. But during that time in network marketing, I bought my very first internet marketing program, which was from a company that Norbert was part of a co-founder in. And it got me the idea of, well, wait a minute. I didn't know I could use this thing called Traffic Geyser with videos. That was one of the first things I used inside your guys' training. I signed up for Aweber. Then they had this autoresponder thing, which was the greatest thing in the world. And then I wasn't really as successful in network marketing using my online promoting tools. But I don't know, one day I just looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute, automatic follow-up email? Wait a minute, Video Geyser where it releases 30 videos at once. Like, internet marketers pay $20 for this, and a small business would pay $500 from these automated emails? You mean emails come out automatically? Internet marketers are like, yes. And I'm like, I tell a small business, and they're like, I'd pay $1,500 if you wrote 5 emails for me. Great. What I ended up doing is I started working with small businesses, and I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason as long as you are prepared. And what I mean by that is I was invited onto a radio show for talking about local marketing. Some guy named Mike Dillard was there that at the time had done over 35 million online. And I told him what I was doing, and we just started a conversation. Mike's like, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing. One thing leads to another. We end up having coffee together at some Austin restaurant just by coincidence. Mike made a comment about, hey, you guys should document what you're doing for small businesses, sell it as a product. And I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. And about 2 days later, he followed up and he goes, no, I'm serious. If you would like to have a multiple 7-figure company, I'll show you how to design it if you allow me to sit on the board. And I'm like, Norbert, this is very important. I wasn't broke, but I was underfunded. I was severely underfunded. I had a great mental state. I didn't have any money in my bank account. And what started happening is Mike helped us put together a product. At the end of the day, he just said, I don't do this for the money. I just wanted to help you guys out. Maybe you can run my Facebook. So then I show up to a little internet marketing party here in Austin. And I say, well, if I run Mike Dillard's Facebook, how come I'm not running your Facebook? And by power of this thing called attraction marketing or association, all of a sudden people are walking up to me and they're like, you're running traffic for this person and this person and this person. This person is pretty well known. And I go, well, yeah, why am I not running traffic for you? And then all of a sudden we have 6 years later, a referral only client list, 7- and 8-figure companies. We do a lot of launches, celebrities, reality TV stars, San Antonio Spurs. I sold my first $10,000 account because of what you taught me in one of your first training programs.
Hey,
here I am today.
I don't even know what that was, but that's isn't that amazing? And here we are today. And man, it's awesome. I love your story, and I love what you're doing for small businesses and for entrepreneurs all over the place. Now, we just actually recorded the premium session before we did this podcast. And in the premium session for our premium members, our Inner Circle members, you walk through the step-by-step process that you use in the campaigns that you run and that you teach other people to implement. And, one of the big striking things, because I heard you do that presentation on stage at No Excuses as well just a few months ago in San Diego. And one of the big striking things that came out to me was most marketers don't understand that marketing on Facebook and marketing on any social media, really, marketing in general is a process. And it's funny, I just recorded a video recently where I talk about the number one mistake most marketers make. And that number one mistake, I say, is that they focus primarily on making sales.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone wants that shortcut. Everyone wants to jump right into making sales. And they don't understand that marketing is a process. And this is exactly what you share in the premium. You lay it all out in detail. But let's just kind of talk about that for the people listening right now. What are some of the big mistakes or misconceptions that you see that marketers have, the marketers that you work with? You share with us an example of one of your clients, and you show us some of the results he was getting, which was pretty expensive compared to what you guys are getting for them now. So you're seeing the mistakes that people are making in their Facebook campaigns. What are these mistakes that most marketers are making? These misconceptions that they have?
So it's kind of started at 10,000 foot view. This is really good. I learned this from Mark Hoverson many, many years ago, and I thought this was great. He has this saying that I've stolen or borrowed or paraphrased over and over, however we want to classify that, right? Your marketing sells your product, and your product keeps people from refunding. So many people are like, I got to have this perfect product. And it's like, no, nobody cares about your product until they vote for their wallet and they swipe their credit card. They'll never swipe the credit card to see your product if you're not marketing it. So let's just focus on the marketing. Now, if we look at marketing like dating, if you're just trying to sell stuff right away to everybody, You're going to be that one very interesting person at the bar that's like, hey, you're cute. What are you doing? Hey, you're cute. What are you doing? Hey, you're cute. But you're not saying what you're doing. You're using other paraphrasing that is probably way too inappropriate and too quick and too fast. So what Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, what they don't like is they could care less. We talk about this in the training, how much money you spend with them, how much, what kind of customers you have. What they care about is your content relevant? And I always tell people to write this down. Is this something that when someone clicks on your ad, does it improve the user's experience from the platform to the end? So what a lot of internet marketers say is, okay, wait a minute. If I know that there's a target of entrepreneurs who like online marketing, I'm going to target those people to sell my online product marketing and course. The problem is they haven't built any rapport. Their ads may run for a week. I'll tell you, just to be very honest with you, Norbert, I bet their ads run less than 10 days. They stop their ads. They say Facebook doesn't work. They don't know specifically what doesn't work about Facebook. They get really frustrated. They'll spend some money again. They'll go to an event that you and I may be at. I ask people, if you spent $0 to $500, these are the people that raise their hand. And I go, what happened? They go, Facebook doesn't work. And I use this one word that is non-emotional. I say specifically what? And they're like,
I don't know.
I have no idea.
It just doesn't work. It costs too much.
So the main thing I can tell people who are starting out, I go, look, let's focus on who your perfect avatar is. Who's the perfect person you want to market to? And let's talk about a message that aligns their belief system. It's like a handshake seeing somebody at a networking event. What's a way that you can shake someone's hand in an elevator speech? You're not going to sell them your services right there, but how do you start that initial conversation? And that's what a lot of marketers miss. And honestly, that's what we spent 45 minutes on. How do we start that initial conversation, quantify it in the least expensive way possible?
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so it's about that, starting that initial conversation. Now, there was one of the things that was really powerful that I feel that you shared in the premium session was when I asked you about budget, about allocating budget. And this is a big question because there's a lot of people that really completely do this wrong. And you told me that, you know, for beginning, when you're just getting started on Facebook, one of the first things that you should be doing, you should be allocating 85%, roughly, throwing out 85% into your likes campaign. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that just heard that right now that are not doing that in their business. And a lot of people that are saying, oh, well, likes campaigns don't work, or whatever misconceptions they have about likes campaigns. Can you share with us why this is important and what's the purpose of a likes campaign? Because I think there's a lot of misconception about that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love this. Because when I talk to, some of our 7- and 8-figure clients or people who are just starting out, what I love is, and I already told you this right before our call, which is like, oh, I know your numbers. I already know that you're not running a likes campaign. And people are like, oh, it doesn't work. And then I say my favorite statement, which is, that's right. We've spent millions of dollars on the ad platform. So I know this simple thing called math and facts on what works, but your belief system, you can believe whatever you want. I just know it's true. So you don't have to listen about anything you like about this I'm going to give you, because I know it works. If you don't believe it works, that's cool. I know it will work. So here's what works, and you can decide for yourself. So what ends up happening is when people are running a like campaign, like we showed very step-by-step exactly why, here's what ends up happening. Most marketers will start testing out website clicks. They're not really quite sure who their audience is. They have kind of an idea of their avatar, but they're going to run website clicks, and they're going to run people to a website. They're going to try to get opt-ins. And then from those opt-ins, they're going to follow up and sell something. They're probably not sending something directly to a sales page, but definitely to an opt-in. A lot of people are used to the opt-ins, which is download my free ebook, how it does this. Here's your email. 2 sentences and an email address. Doesn't work anymore. Just doesn't. The average cost depends on niche. I'm going to do some estimations. It may cost $1.50 to $1 to get somebody over to that website. You don't know if they're necessarily qualified to be there or not, and either they're going to opt in or they don't. When they leave the site, you can only follow up with them if there's been over 1,000 people who hit that website, which if it's $1 a click, that means you have to spend $1,000. And Norbert, if someone's starting out in their first 30 days, who in the heck is going to spend $1,000 to even retarget people in the first place? And here's the biggest question. If they're retargeting people that went to their website and didn't opt in, how do we even know we're retargeting the people that we don't even know if we're targeting right in the first place? So now what we're doing is we're spending money in a loop of people we don't even know if they're qualified. This is when people say, I don't know what happened, but Facebook didn't work. So if we run likes, we get people, we cover this in detail, how do we raise their hands? So if there's a room full of people And how do we say, hey, how many people here love being an entrepreneur? 100 people raise their hand. Everybody else can be excused because we know we are targeting entrepreneurs. We know that we got people to raise their hand to say they like being an entrepreneur. Now we know that we are engaged in a conversation where by the stuff that we post on our Facebook, and again, we cover this in detail, and how we follow up with those individuals, now we start building rapport, not just content, not just freebies. We're starting that conversation like at an event where you shake someone's hand, you start the conversation, you know that they're interested before you say, hey, would you like to trade business cards and chat just a little bit more about how we may be able to help each other? Step by step, we walk through it, 45 minutes.
Right. Exactly. Now, there's Facebook's going through a lot of changes, and Facebook continues to go through a lot of changes. And I think as Facebook marketers, it's sometimes frustrating to keep up with all the changes. And it seems like I just see a lot of marketers, they're just throwing, spaghetti on the wall and just seeing what sticks. And I mean, you're going to lose a lot of money that way. And I know a lot of marketers have, and they just end up really frustrated. Being on Facebook now for 6 years, you've been running campaigns on Facebook and other social platforms. How much has it changed? What things do we need to be aware of? Or has, the strategy that you follow really fundamentally always stayed the same as long as you follow this process that you're talking about?
Yeah, so a couple of different things. Here's one of the frustrating things. Facebook doesn't have great training on how to use their platform. They really don't. And without good training, they really don't have a very good customer service. So what you have to do is spend a lot of money in a lot of different niches to figure out what the commonalities are, because there's no one website for Facebook that says, here's exactly what you do, because there's so many different cases, right?
Yeah.
So here's a couple of the major things that I want you to think about. Most of the process for Facebook advertising is automated. It's done by an algorithm. Artificial intelligence. Now we're going to get a little creepy and dive down the rabbit hole, but it's very important that everybody understands this, because this silly little artificial intelligence has been created by some of the smartest people in the world, who are psychiatrists, psychologists, brain experts, emotion studies. Like, with over 1 billion people logging into Facebook daily, there's a lot of stats that they can go over, right? Here's some of the major changes. Remember, there's not really a customer service department, so let's make sure that we do everything right so we don't have to contact customer service. So I'm going to give you some of these math and facts. Second thing, a little over a year ago, there were 1 million advertisers on Facebook. And there already wasn't much training that Facebook provides or customer service. Today, 12 months later, 3 million people. So Norbert, just to use some common sense, if there were 1 million people on it last year and 3 million people on it this year, do you think the cost and the targetings have changed just a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. And we've noticed that.
Huge. Now, the other thing is I want you to think about this. This is what a Facebook rep told us one time, and this should really help your marketing. Like, if you watch this video, this will really make a huge difference. There is no round table of people in compliance. So it's not like there's a board meeting every Tuesday where 50 employees get together and they're like, we don't like these ads. We like these ads. We don't like this company. We like this company. It's all automated. It's all artificial intelligence. So here's what happens. Remember the ads on Facebook that people used to have the red lines around the box, and they're like, click this, click this. Because so many people did it, the population started to not like that. So what would happen is the algorithm would see these red lines around these ads and all of a sudden would stop serving them. And people are like, well, this worked before. It worked in my training. No. The algorithm is constantly learning from us silly little humans what we like to have in our newsfeed. There's over 150,000 different ways that Facebook judges what you see in your newsfeed. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. So what happens is so many marketers think, I'm going to sell it this way and I'm going to force it down Facebook's throat. And they're like, I don't understand, my ads don't work. Because the algorithm has already saw this crappy ad, somebody else who's done the same thing, sent it to this horrible affiliate site, or you literally copied someone else's ad and you're not targeting. So as we silly little humans change over the seasons, as we no longer, hopefully everybody, this affects everybody, likes the Kardashians, so that stuff just stops getting in the news feeds and stuff like that, the algorithm's always learning. So if we make sure that we have consistent, relevant content in front of a very focused avatar, number 1 we talk about in the scale method, now when we keep information in front of soccer lovers, when we keep information of soccer in front of soccer lovers, we can have different products and services to sell. It's going to decrease our cost. It's going to make it really relevant. We're engaging in a conversation. If I'm just trying to slam over a sale directly, I skip all the engagement. I skip the targeting. I skip everything that Facebook's looking for me to do. And those are the accounts that Facebook looks to shut down. People that don't engage, people who don't run like campaigns, people who just want to spend money, throw up an ad, have a whole bunch of people click on it, maybe 1 or 2 people buy, they shut those down. What Facebook wants is people to click on your ad, spend time on your website. Click on your ad, watch your video. Facebook wants people to buy your products and services if that's exactly what they're looking for. Facebook doesn't want the people out there who have like the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and they're like, hit these 3 easy buttons, make $1 million on the internet if you pay me $5,000 for coaching. So this whole algorithm, it's all artificial intelligence and it's all focused on relevance. They want you to make sales, but you have to be really relevant. It's all voted on by wallets.
Okay, so there's 2 things that come up for me here, and I just want to dive a little bit deeper into each of them. Number 1 is relevance, and then number 2 is compliance, and they go hand in hand, really. So when we talk about relevant content, how do we know if we're targeting the right people and we're getting the right message in front of the right people? Because most of us are looking at our costs. You know, oh my God, I'm paying too much per lead. I'm paying too much for clicks. But how do we know if our content is relevant, if that's so important?
Yeah, it is a great question. So this is why I always start with a like campaign. So I'm trying to figure out where can I attract people's attention for the least amount, for the highest qualified, and if I screw up, where will it give me another opportunity to follow up with this person, right? I mean, Norbert, you've been doing this for years. Isn't it amazing how people get people into an opt-in autoresponder? They have 7 emails and they spend all this time and effort getting people into their email autoresponder. Then after 7 emails, they just never follow up.
That's
ever.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, you spent all of this money to get here and you stopped. So if you watch our video, we go very specifically through 12 steps. We go through the first 6 where if we really focus on who our avatar is. So we want to figure out who's our best buyer. One of the books I highly recommend, it's a friend of mine too. Here, let me show you this here real quick. I'll go after him on that because I'm just reading this. Great friend of mine, Ryan Levesque. I don't know if you've read this book, Ask.
I haven't yet. Yeah, I got to get that one. Yeah.
So I was just spending 3 days with him, and I'm basically going to tell you this. This isn't a pitch for Ryan's book, but it's so incredibly important. Just buy it, read chapter number 13. Everybody can see Ask right here, Ryan Levesque. And I've known Ryan for years. So one of the things is Norbert, you've seen this too, is when you follow somebody and they're consistently doing the right thing and consistently producing revenues for years, and their revenue doesn't go like this, they're obviously doing something right. So he shows this graph, Ryan does. I'll go this really quick story and it'll make complete sense on what we need to target. And he shows this graph in this live event that we were at, and he shows this spike over the course of about 4 days, a spike in traffic, and then a drop off on Google Analytics. And then over the course of the next 2 months, his traffic goes like this and then levels out consistent for 8 years. So what he tells everybody, he goes, how would you guys like to have predictable revenue every single month for the next 8 years, predictably? Spend the same amount of money, trying to be 20 grand a month, just one business. I have 6 of these, but this is just how many people would like to learn how to do that. We're like, oh my goodness, this is great. And what he did is he did a deep dive study, chapter number 13 in his book. He does a deep dive study when you saw the little spike on Google Analytics, because he would run like campaigns or ask people to take a small little survey on his site just to understand exactly what they wanted, their one thing, not his one thing. So you can use stuff like BuzzSumo, and you can type in things like home business and find all these articles that are related to home business that people would be interested in. That's a great, easy way to take a look at it. Or, Norbert, there's this silly little machine, a lot of people haven't heard about it, called the Google. And when you go to the Google and you can type in, for instance, like let's just say home business opportunity, and you type that into Google, the most relevant results will come up in Google. Look at some of those sites. What makes it so relevant that they're talking about? Just look at some of the copy. Also click on Google Images, and you'll see in Google Images how Google relates those words to specific images. That really helps pick out images for ads. Well, what Ryan would do is Ryan would run a campaign, and he would ask people to fill out a short little survey of 4 or 5 questions. In this way, he knew, for example, the site that he gave was an orchid site he has. When people came to the orchid site, he knew, hey, if your orchids are turning yellow leaves are falling off, or if they're not blooming next year, click right here, enter your email for 3 easy tips on how to grow your orchids. Well, how did he know those 3 things were common? Well, because he asked the question in the survey. See, what ends up happening is you can look at BuzzSumo, you can look at Audience Insights to get started, You can also, as you're growing an email list, or you can start a survey, you can market to an audience and have them tell them their words on specifically what they're looking for. Ryan explains this in the book. But once you figure out your avatar, all the targeting options in the world are available to you in Facebook. So you want to make sure you're talking, and Norbert, you do this great, you want to make sure that you're talking just to one individual. So now that I know that I have a nutrition product, I know that I'm going to target people who like nutrition, I know I'm going to follow up with a video about nutrition because they like nutrition in the first place, and I'm going to be doing boost posts on my fan page that talk about nutrition. I'm going to find the post that got the best response overall and run that as my ad, because it's been proven that the target liked my stuff. They've been proven that they saw my retargeting video, and it all starts with knowing who your avatar is and where they hang out with. So again, ask us something you can do a deep dive that just helps, just huge, and gives you predictable revenue. Or I'll tell you, Norbert, most people don't spend any time on focusing on their avatar. They target 18 to 65, male and female. It throws off all their marketing. Just think about the people that you want to hang out with. And then Facebook and Google and these other platforms will do all the work, but you have to know who you're going to target. And then just talk about some of their subjects. You can find all that stuff online.
Right. And I love the process. Oh, wait, I'm echoing.
You're good.
Echoing for myself. But I love the process that you just shared there to actually create proof as to what ad works so that you could use then to attract your audience, which is completely different than 99% of marketers on Facebook. They're trying to figure out, well, who is my avatar? How old are they? Where do they live? I think this, I think that. Oh, and let me test a couple of images, and here's the landing page I created. Right? So there's absolutely no proof. There's no testing. I mean, you're literally guessing, and you're spending your own money on a wild guess. Now, that to me sounds like gambling.
Yeah, it's just what I tell people all the time. We talked about this in the training as well, too. You know, people talk about budgets, how much should I allocate? And I go, look, at the end of the day, very, very, very important. You're not investing in Facebook ads. You're not going to buy Facebook ads. They go up and down in value, and you're not going to gamble where you just throw money out there. All we're going to do is we're going to buy data. So statistically, I know, like with Brian, the example that we give in the training, where it's like, I know statistically, Brian has gotten over 400 likes for 10 cents. Statistically, I know that we can keep getting them because it's gotten for 400 of them. Great. But if I send somebody back to his website and I get a $1.50 click and it only happens 3 times and I stop, I don't have any predictable data. Like I can't make any decisions off that. All we're doing is saying, do we have enough? You don't even have to know algebra or basic math. It is, did I see at least 100 or 150 people do whatever, and did they take the action that I want? So I got 150 clicks, but no one opted in. So 150 people showed up. At least one person should have opted in. I should probably change something. But most people, Norbert, as you already know, change way too much, way too quick, and they don't have a chance to run it. So here's one of my golden tips. I don't believe anything on Facebook unless it happens 3 days in a row. The day that you start your ads, don't check your dang ads. Sorry, don't check your damn ads. Don't. I'll make fun of you because the algorithm hasn't even figured out what to do yet. The second day, you kind of sort of have an idea. The third day, you have a clear idea. I have likes right now that we started a campaign yesterday. They're $1.50. Today, they're 10 cents. Most people would have turned off the $1.50 because they didn't give Facebook 3 days to run. So give at least 3 days to run, then make smart decisions. Don't ever turn off all your ads. One ad should always be running, and you're always trying to beat the cost of this one ad, always. But you never shut down all ads because it stops all momentum. Very important.
Some great tips there. Now you talk about 3 days. That's huge right there because I know I've been guilty of doing it, and I see so many marketers do it too. They shut down before they have enough data. So you say 3 days. Is there an ad spend? Like let's just take likes campaigns as an example. You set up a likes campaign. You start it running. What should our budget be per day if we're running it for 3 days to get some good data?
Good question. So the first thing is you just have to be really confident that that's all you're buying is good data. All you're buying is data. It's never good or bad. And just remember that 90% of your ads probably aren't going to work. So all we're trying to do is trying to target a wide audience and shave it down into where we get it to it's predictable. So, for example, you may find out that you want to target nutrition. Great. You may have 3 lines of copy and 3 different images. Images are going to be the biggest. You may have 3 different lines of copy and 3 different images. Now, I always split test out like ads. I don't have Facebook optimized. I always split test out. I'm going to test it on mobile, which is usually the cheapest, desktop and desktop. So I test one on mobile and desktop. Now, as I run this target for nutrition and I run these 4 different ads and I run them for 3 days, I'm going to start to get a number. I don't even know what the heck that number is, but I'm going to get something. Let's just say it's $1.50. Great. That's my control. Now, my only job is I'm going to run another ad where I'm going to change one thing. Let's just say it's I'm going to change the image. Copy is the same. Target's the same. I'm going to start another ad. Let's just say this likes $1.50. I'm going to start another ad after 3 days, and I'm going to see, can I beat $1.50? Now, if this right here starts out at $2 the same day, I just remember nothing really matters until I notice for Facebook for 3 days. If this ad tomorrow, after 2 days, it's still $2, well, this is $1.50, I can shut it off. That gives me some common sense. If it's $4, I can clearly tell, wow, I need to shut this off. But many times what will happen is the second ad will start higher, and then 3 days later, what will happen is this will start, this is $1.50, this will be 80 cents. So people will turn off this ad. And they'll run this, and then they start another ad that tries to beat this 80 cents. Here's the deal. Pretty soon you will find out what your control number is. So you're always running another ad just to see if you can beat that control number for 3 days in a row. You never turn off an ad that's working until it's been beaten 3 days in a row. One other little comment, Norbert, I mentioned this in the training. In Texas, we have that saying, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, right? Mm-hmm. If I know, for example, I'm getting likes at 50 cents, if I find a new target and I get likes for 45 cents on one target and 50 cents on another, it's a 5-cent difference. Just run both. It's fine. Really close. You at least have 2 different ways to diversify. You don't always have to just rely on just one.
Because you're targeting 2 different audiences.
Exactly. One's 40 cents, one's 45. Just run it. Yeah. You want to have as many multiple streams as income as you have. So remember, what is the exact cost of life you're looking for? Like I can show you deeper in a diver training, but what really matters is, can you consistently get a cost for 3 days in a row? Yes. Can you get something that can beat that cost 3 days in a row? Change one thing, either change the image or change the headline or change the targeting. Don't change 3 things. So ideally, over the course of 30 days, you're going to have and know your control numbers. We covered this in the training. How much does it cost for me to get a like? How much does it cost for cost per action, which could be a video view, a boost page engagement? How much is it for someone to click on my website? How much is it for a lead? And how much is it for a sale? Let's be honest. Once you know that you can put in $1 and you bring out $1.50, you'll spend as much money as you possibly have on ads.
Awesome. All right, let's touch real quick on compliance here. So with compliance, something that maybe you can give us a little bit of insight into. Are there certain ads, certain words, certain things that we shouldn't be advertising or putting in our ads or having on our landing pages? Or is it simply all based on relevance?
Good question. So a couple of things. One, always read the terms of use once a month. Always. They always change. And they're really, what's the best word I can use for this? I'm from Nebraska, so I usually only use 1 or 2 syllable words. It's very ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
Like Canadians knew big words too. This is a great thing. So the reason is that they're not clear is because there are millions of situations. There's no way to police it. So they're never going to tell you, here's the exact rules, because they feel that you're going to break them. But you're like, if I knew the rules, I'd play by the rules. So read the terms of use once a month. It's going to give you a great idea, number 1. Number 2, you can Google Facebook case studies. Read their case studies. So it might be somebody in the nutrition niche, and you're going to see how they ran their ads. That's going to give you some really good ideas. If they're a case study, that's probably something that Facebook likes. Now, it just could be me, but Facebook's a multi-billion-dollar company that has lawyers look over all their case studies before they put them on their website. So you know that it has really gone through a filter process for it to be a case study. Next thing. You can't target people individually and call them out on who they are as individuals. You can target 30 to 55-year-old entrepreneurs and, 30 and 55-year-old entrepreneurs and people who are single. You can't say, are you a 35-year-old entrepreneur in Austin who's single looking for a date? You can say, are you single looking for some companionship, right? Because you're targeting that group, but you're not saying what that group makeup is inside of your ad. So that's very important. So using words, remember, humans aren't usually looking these ads over. It's by an algorithm. So learn how you will get whatever. That's a claim. So does that mean that everyone's going to get it? Download my free ebook, and I'm going to show you these 3 easy steps. Okay, so it's to download my ebook. It talks about the 3 easy steps are they click on the ad, they go to the landing page. The landing page is very congruent. It says the exact same thing. Then they opt in. That's fine. What Facebook's looking for is Facebook wants to make sure that the end user, it's relevant content. So they want to make sure, okay, they clicked on the ad, they went to the website. Now on the website itself, is it forcing people? Don't ever do an autoplay video. Facebook hates the word force. Don't ever force them to opt in. So they clicked on the ad that, let's just say, it talks more about nutrition. Great. When they click on that landing page, is it just a landing page that says, get my free ebook for these free nutritional recipes? Click here. Well, a lot of people will bounce on the page and bounce off because they read one sentence and that was it. In Facebook, they don't really know who these people are. They only know that, oh, someone clicked on the ad, clicked on the page, and then jumped off. It must not be relevant. So what Facebook wants on their pages are no block-ups or no pop-up blockers, right? They want a great experience. With that great experience, they want a lot of content. Can somebody read over, just like Google, can somebody read over their page? Can they click navigations buttons at the very top that explains who you are, your about us, your products and services, and could people buy if they clicked on one of those links? Now, direct response marketers say, I'm only sending people to one page with one option. It'll confuse people. That's what we used to think. Now,
right.
Algorithms who have, like, remember when they used to have focus studies, right? Focus groups, call and get people's feedback. Facebook and Google don't care now. The reason is because they have so much data from their algorithm, what people click on, what they don't. They don't need case studies. They don't need, all they need for you to do is to be relevant. That's it. They want to make sure you have a good experience. So if people click over, and our thought as marketers are, well, if we only give them one option, then they'll do something. No, the ad platform says that people will leave. We want to make sure, do people have options at the top where they can navigate around our site? Is there clear disclaimers down at the bottom that clearly disclaim if we're retargeting, terms of use, can people click on your about us to find more about you? And when you're asking for someone's email, do you have a little line underneath to tell them exactly what it's going to be about? I can tell you that Facebook loves webinars, for example, because it says, here's what we're going to cover. Here's the time we're going to cover it. I'll send you an email auto reminder for you to be on the webinar. They love that. But when you say opt in for my free ebook, opt in here, and there's no other links, you don't disclose how you're going to follow up with people, the terms of use. So remember, more information is better. Giving people options is better. You will build a longer term relationship. Just make sure if someone logs in your page, there's not an autoplay video, there's not a pop-up. People can read information, they can navigate around, and they can maybe click on a banner where they can either opt in or buy, but you have to give them a good experience. So when they click on the ad, it's congruent and they spend time on your page. That's the biggest thing that I would look at. You'll get people to opt in and follow you as a buyer. Make it congruent. Don't force them into an opt-in. Trust me, it'll make you a lot more money longer term.
And you'll get those opt-ins if you're putting relevant content in front of your target market, which is what you started, this whole conversation that we started right at the beginning was, getting that avatar down and getting your messaging nailed down, and, only advertising those things to people that have raised their hand.
I mean, Norbert, you've heard this for years, right? Like, how many people have ever come up to you and said, I've been following you for months, or I've been following you for years, and I decided to take action because you said this one thing?
That's exactly it. I mean, everything that we're talking about here comes down to 3 steps that I believe I learned this from Mike Dillard. I'm sure that I did. It was so long ago that I don't even remember, but I'm sure it was Mike. And he basically shared 3-step marketing formula, which is number 1, build your list, which now I just say build your audience. Okay. Because we can build an audience on Facebook or different platforms. Build your audience, engage with your audience, sell to your audience. I mean, really, that's what it all comes down to. And it's completely relevant to when we're talking about Facebook. And I think people are they're skipping those first 2 steps and trying to go right for the sale. And they're not taking the time to build that targeted audience first and create that engagement.
Yeah, in the past, and I know you've seen people that do this too, they're like, I got to be the expert in the field. And once I make money, then I can be the expert. But wait a minute, I got to make money to be the expert. No, but I got to be the expert before I can make money. But then I don't even know where to start. And I'm just like, just remember, you can go to this thing called Google, and you can sign up for Google alerts on certain topics. There are so many news stations. Like, I don't know about you, but like I watch Netflix, but I don't watch cable. But I know, like, when I go to my parents' house and I look at their cable, like, there's at least 200 channels of the news. It's the same thing. But some people, like my crazy father, will watch Fox News, get all freaked out, think of some survivalist strategy. The whole world's coming to an end. But that's his perspective because of one news source.
Right.
So I would get like Facebook marketing, Facebook advertising tips from Google Alerts. And I would just say, hey, look, I found this article that really means a lot to me. Here's why. People just want one source to go to for information. So you don't have to be the expert. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the richest. You just have to get people to raise their hand, put content in front of them, like myself. I don't know about you, but like if someone curates content, like they find articles for me, and it's someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, very interested in following him. I follow Mike Dillard as well too. I don't really care where they get their information. They're just regurgitating what they've learned, I want to hear it through their voice. So you don't have to be a billionaire, a millionaire, an expert. You just have to be relevant with content, and people don't care about how much money you make. They just care about how much you care and what information you're giving them. That's it. They'll buy from you always.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Kurt, we could keep chatting for another hour, but I think we got to wrap this up. It's always fun hanging out with you and chatting with you. I got to come visit your office up there overlooking Austin. I love that city. So I'll be there in August. So I definitely want to connect with you.
I got in about 5 minutes, because of you guys and the way that I learned to do online marketing. One of my clients for the last 3 years is the second largest, most influential channel on YouTube, above Disney and Sony. And he'll be walking into my place in about 10 minutes. We'll go have a drink at the bar above the city. So I love to lure entrepreneurs here for a drink, stare at this beautiful city. So anytime you want to talk about this online business thing that we do, I would love to be able to buy a drink or a water or whatever. Do Canadians drink water and coffee?
What's that?
Do Canadians drink water, coffee, and beer?
Coffee and beer all the time. That's what we do.
Great.
Curt, this has been a blast. It's been super fun. If you're not a premium member, go check out our $1 trial. You'll get access immediately to the premium session that me and Curt recorded, and he walks you through his 12-step process. We focus on the first 5 or 6 steps. Really just to get you up to speed. He shows you exactly what you should be doing in your first 30 days. It's an amazing training, incredible training. I know it's going to help you in your Facebook marketing. I hope you take what you learned here from Curt and apply it into your business. Curt, again, thank you so much for everything that you do. For all the marketers and entrepreneurs out there, we'll be sure to leave some links down below this video on the blog where they can get more information and more training from you, Curt, because I know you deliver some great stuff on a regular basis as well. So again, lots of appreciation. Thank you so much for sharing this information with our viewers.
Yay. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you next week on another edition of the Online Playmaker Sessions. Everyone, take care.
I hope you enjoyed this week's Playmaker session. If you love the session, subscribe now to our YouTube channel so you never miss our weekly episodes. Be sure to also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just type in Online Playmakers in the search bar and click subscribe, and be sure to leave a 5-star review. All of the episodes, show notes, transcripts, resources, and bonuses are available on the blog over at onlineprofitplaybook.com, along with several bonus free tutorials I've created for you as well. Your fast track to results is to follow the Playmakers. You can download their closely guarded playbooks and follow them step by step to grow your influence, build your audience, and create results in your business right now. Head over to onlineprofitplaybook.com and join the Playmakers to get full access today. Thank you again for joining us today, and be sure to tune in next week as we bring you another power-packed session with the top Playmakers online. This is Norbert Orlowitz signing off.